Hi everybody.
Hello there.
Jerry.
And Linda.
We're coming to you from the Eisenhower Rec Center. We have a special show for you today. First, Linda wants to talk about something she received in the mail yesterday.
I received this a couple days ago in the mail from one of our viewers named Carol Carlisle, and she wrote a book, and it's all about why don't grandmothers wear hair bows. Precious. She found out I had a granddaughter and thought this will be great for me to read to her, and definitely I will when we get to see each other. So thank you, Carol.
We're doing the social distancing thing today. We have this interview. We're interviewing Mike and Donna, and they're going to tell us about their experience going through the planning stages for a new home here in the Villages. So first of all, we would like to welcome you guys.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Hi. We really appreciate you being here, and I know you've gone through the Design Center, and that took a good bit of a week, and we thought maybe you could take us first, give us a little introduction about yourselves, and then take us through the first part of your visit, scheduling the Design Center and how many days it took, and then we'll get into the particulars.
I think we got tired of shoveling snow.
That's the major reason. Plus
Taking care of the yard.
taking care of the yard, rattling around in our big old house in Connecticut. Our kids are grown. They've left the home. And a lot of our neighbors who had kids their age, they left their neighborhood. So we had a new influx of families, a lot of young children. So it was time. It was time to move on, enjoy the rest of our lives somewhere with like-minded folks. And so began our adventure here.
You came down here and you went around with a realtor, I'm presuming, and you selected a lot. Can you tell us about that process?
Sure, we met up with Chris Terrell, and she showed us around pre-owned homes, and went to Spurlock to see the model homes. And we just fell in love with the designer series, and we chose the Laurel Oak, and we went from there.
What features does the Laurel Oak have that you guys like so much?
Well, Laurel Oak had larger rooms than a lot of the other models that we'd seen. It also had room for an expanded garage, as well as being able to incorporate an art studio for her, and put a pool in the back as well. We like the design overall. We like the flow of the layout. We like the room positioning, number of bathrooms, of course, number of bedrooms. And of all the models that we had seen, I think it's going to work the best for us.
When you shopped for a lot, what kind of things did you look for in your lot?
The major thing, Jerry, I think that we looked for, it was always in the back of my mind, is to create an art studio for Donna. She's operating out of a small 10 by 10 spare bedroom in our house now, and the lighting was very poor. Of course, I heard about that every day. So one of the major reasons we chose the lot that we did was because it had ample northern light, and that's a definite plus for any artist. So that, in conjunction with the ability to put some windows on the south side overlooking the lake feature that we have, as well as our pool, made us decide on just what we chose.
Well, that sounds great. It sounds like you found exactly what you were looking for. Now, you went to the Design Center. You had to set an appointment up. How far in advance did you set that up? And once you got here to go into your appointments, how many times did it take? How many visits? And what goes on there?
Well, it's sort of like giving birth to an elephant. It takes a long time. We had set up this appointment with the design team months in advance. They knew we were coming. We had the date of our design visit. With the COVID stuff that's happened, we had to self-quarantine in advance of our visit here. We were fortunate enough to be able to have Chris Terrell take us around, show us some more floor plans and some lots after the self-quarantine was lifted here at the Villages. And then on Monday the 29th, that's when our design meetings did start.
How many times did you have to come in for a meeting with the design team?
Well, we did the lifestyle back on the beginning of March, and that's when we chose our lot. And then we chose to come in a little early just to get our bearings. So one of my tips for anybody would be to get a GPS for the villages, because there's a whole lot of streets that aren't on the map. So we purchased the GPS, so we were able to get around to look at different villages and be on streets that we just didn't know where we were. So that certainly helped a lot. Then we became familiar with it. So we went to Lake Sumter, and that's where the Street of Dreams is, and that's where the Design Center is. And that meeting was scheduled for Monday. And we spent all day, lots of choices, and we pretty much nailed down a floor plan of what we wanted in the house, where the electrical outlets were, and then we did have a break for lunch, but we were there till probably 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we took all week from the time we started Monday to
Friday afternoon,
Friday.
5:30, I believe we wrapped it up. The Villages has it down pat. It is a wonderful system, very well-oiled machine. They start with the macro, you've got your lot, and then they work toward the micro. Once you figure out what lot, what rooms, and they just keep honing in and finalizing things, and then they'll come up with an overall rough estimate as to what it'll cost you, plus any premium on the lot, because there are premiums for better lots versus, say, an interior lot that's housed in with walls. And then they just continue forward. So it's just an unbelievable process. Very, very well thought out.
When you went to the design center, were you assigned a person to take care of your account, or did you bounce from station to station looking at various aspects of a new home?
Well, what happened was we had the first 2 days with our realtor, Chris, by our side, and I wholeheartedly suggest that if you go into a design meeting, because she's going to, or he will pick up things that you might have forgotten. But we were assigned a project manager, and this project manager took us from soup to nuts, but there are some ancillary things that you'll have to decide on. Once the overall plan of the house has been worked out, the following days you'll have to pick out countertops. We'll get a little more into that, but you'll also have the choice of, if you want cabinetry, custom cabinetry, or perhaps a pool, or perhaps a home smart system, or perhaps windows and blinds, if you want to do that. And each one will either be brought into you, landscaping as well. Each one will be brought into you to sit down in her office, or you will go to their location, pretty much on the design center property. Then again, it's all in sync, and they know what they're doing.
When you came in, did you give them a dollar figure you were looking to spend, or do they tell you, you've chosen this model, here's what it usually costs?
We had a dollar amount in mind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we had a budget kind of set, and we didn't say, well, hey, we can spend up to X amount of dollars. It's not like buying a car where they're going to try to sell you right up to that limit. We wanted to see what the bare bones was and then add or maybe cut as need be. So our budget was in mind, and then we started adding on some niceties and started subtracting some things that really weren't necessary, but we thought maybe we can add those on later on.
When you come, for example, to the kitchen, I think all the designer homes come standard with a designer laminate for the countertops and the bathtops, but they will offer you a chance to upgrade. When they offer you that chance and you're looking at those choices, do they have an extra dollar amount for each one of those at that time, or do they just figure it up and give you the grand total later?
We were trying to choose between granite and quartz, and pretty much they run about the same for price.
Per linear foot.
The difference as I was seeing it, was the granite, you go to a granite yard and you actually pick out your choice of granite.
Right.
They do have samples in the design center. Then there's quartz that is, I'd say, kind of man-made, and they tell you the process of how it is made, and that has certain choices. So it's A, B, C, D, E and F. I think of the different levels.
A is the cheapest, F is the most expensive. Just empty your wallet at the counter.
So yeah, so you have a choice of which grade that you want, and you know, and you can pick out the granite at the yard, and the quartz just is, because of the nature of it, that's your choice.
Yeah, as you're going around with your realtor, they're going to be showing you a myriad of different homes. 99% will have some sort of granite or quartz installed. Very few had Formica or laminate. I think we saw maybe 1 or 2 out of the 50 that we had seen. She does a lot of baking, and what we had done in our home in Connecticut is installed granite. Idea being, you take out a hot cookie tray. You don't want to have to burn a hole through your laminate. You want to be able to put it on a hard surface such as quartz or granite.
I use a pot holder.
Yeah. So we've been told. Don't put it directly on a rock surface. Hey, after 26 years, there hasn't been a scratch or a burn or a crack, so I think we kind of lucked out. So we decided to go that route again because it has been tried and true, and granite's the second known hardest substance, natural substance on Earth. So we went that route. A little more money, yeah, but it's something that you're going to have forever. So, you know, choose your granite carefully because it's going to be with you. So yeah, that's a major process. And they use the granite yard not too far from here, 10 minutes from the villages perhaps. And it had to be 110 degrees in the sun. And I swear you can fry an egg on one of their pieces of granite. Bologna? I'm not so sure.
And how did you choose flooring?
I'll leave that to her.
Oh, that was kind of interesting. We were going to originally go with tile until I decided, you know, it's a little bit more maintenance. So we ultimately went with the vinyl.
Yeah, a vinyl plank flooring. Supposed to be nearly indestructible. If something does get damaged or scratched, you can just have that section pulled up and replaced. That is, if they still make it. Hopefully they will. But we don't intend on dropping anything in there. But yeah, it was going to be tile, 24 by 24 square. We had the color picked out. We had it matched to a piece of granite that was in their showroom at the design center. And of course, this one, thought about it for about 48 hours square. Middle of the night, I got woken up. Tile or plank flooring. It's like, I got 2 more hours of sleep, please.
So we took that tile and we put it in the bathroom on the walls in the shower. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we took the tile we're going to put on the floor, and we had that put in our walls in the Roman type of shower. So yeah, it was a big choice, but I think it came out nice.
We can attest to that a little bit. Back home in Indiana, we upgraded to beautiful tile floors, bathrooms, laundry room, kitchen. But if you drop a coffee cup or a big dish, either that dish or that floor are going to break when it hits. Mm-hmm. The other day, she dropped a coffee cup on our kitchen floor, and it bounced like a tennis ball.
All the way across. It was
no problem. So, good move on the vinyl plank.
Thanks.
I think you'll enjoy that.
And can I just add that since you mentioned the glass on your backsplash, we went with that too. Different color, but I was so glad to see that.
Thank you for the tip.
Thank you.
Were there any things throughout the process that when you saw the bottom line, the total cost, you said, wow, this is getting out of control? Or were you able to kind of maintain it within your budget throughout?
Well, when they first told us the price, I thought they were...
we told them to put it on Jerry and Linda's tab.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We'll have to tell them about that later. So
I don't know if that's ready for prime time.
No. So they gave us a price, but I thought it was, we had to add the land, the extra premium to the lot,
Oh, yeah.
into that price, but it was really as a
Yeah,
package.
she was building it in double.
I was building it in, I'm like, oh boy.
I wonder why I had to use the smelling salts to get her off the floor. It's like, no, the property's already built into their price. So we had a feeling it was going to be around what they had told us. But of course, there are still choices. All right, after the initial sticker shock and she recovering, then we had to go ahead and start looking at some of the more specific items that would have bolstered the price had we gone with it.
What time frame do you expect all of this to be done? And when can we call you neighbors?
But you,
December 1st.
you can call us neighbors now.
Yeah, but we're here now. No.
We're locked in. December 1st is our closing date. We'll be back before then. We hope to come down with our RV and get a home base for a month and a half and watch the final couple of weeks of the house build. And then December 1st is the close. And according to the project manager at the design center, they always meet their deadlines. So we're looking forward to that.
Have you had to give a down payment or some sort of earnest money to get this all rolling, and then you'll settle up at the end? Is that how it works?
Me being a wise guy, I wanted to put it on my credit card, and they most emphatically said no. And they also said that a lot of people want to try that because they collect points. I said, yeah, I could go around the world twice with my points. But no, we had to write them a check. And it was a fairly substantial 20% down payment, balance due on closing.
Before we leave you guys, is there any advice you'd like to give the viewers who might be thinking about building a new home down here?
Yeah, absolutely. What you want to do is you want to allow the whole week, first of all, to have your design meeting with the team. Even though you might think you know exactly what you want, what you're going to get, there's going to be a lot of alterations, possibly. And if there are, it's going to take more time. And of course, allow time for lunches and breaks in between the time with the project manager. We went one day and we blew right through lunch, so it was 5 o'clock, I was getting lightheaded, we went out and had dinner. So yeah, allow the whole week, especially if a pool is going to be built, because that takes a good 4 to 5 hours alone. We had a custom one designed due to the irregularity of our back lanai. You can get a fiberglass drop-in or a custom concrete. So give them some time. The choices you make with the pool, say you go in Monday, your last meeting with the design team is supposed to be Friday, they'll probably set you up on Wednesday for your pool meeting. They're going to want you to sign off right then and there on that Wednesday that this is the pool, this is the things you want around the pool, and if you change after that, there are penalties, not only from the design team, but from T&D Pools. So you got to make sure you know what you want at the end of that pool meeting if you do decide to get a pool. So yeah, allow the whole week. A couple of the days are very hectic. I think Tuesday afternoon was probably the most detailed, and I walked out of there, my head was spinning, Donna's head was spinning, and
We didn't want to make a mistake.
we did not want to make a mistake. There is another bit of advice. I don't know how many people have done this in the past, how many people will take my little piece of advice, but one thing I did do, and I asked in advance with everyone that we sat with at the design center, do you mind if I record you? I brought a portable digital recorder and recorded our sessions. Invaluable. At the end of the night, after you have dinner and you're relaxing with a cocktail, you play that recording back. Oh, she said this. No, I think she said that. Play it back. It's all there, and it's another set of ears. Invaluable.
Also, we were mentioning, you don't have a lot of custom things. They use a certain brand of sink, of faucets, so you're kind of restricted to that, their brand. They have certain things that they have to put in, like lights over the sink in the bathroom. But then there are certain things that you can cap off. So if you want to bring your favorite chandelier from another home, you can bring
Right.
that, and they will have the wiring there, and you can go and you can put in that light fixture.
I had my heart set on Marvin windows. I had my heart set on hurricane windows. They don't do that. They have their own window manufacturer. They're rated for a certain amount of pressure, but they don't come out and say they're hurricane windows that will deflect errant 2x4s. Doesn't happen. Appliances, they'll change as well. You might have Whirlpool appliances, for 6 months offered by the design center, then it'll be Samsung, then it'll be something else. So if you want to go with them, that's what you'll get. We had chosen to get our own appliances. So we're going to look at one of the sales, maybe at a big box store, either Labor Day, Black Friday, order them up as a package, get the best deal I can, and try to coordinate it with our move-in time. So you can save a lot of money if you do your homework. Sometimes it's easier to just go with what they recommend. Case in point, we had opted to cap off a lot of our ceiling fans. But I did go with ceiling fans in the garage and also the lanai, and I went with their recommended indoor-outdoor for the lanai in the garage because it was as expensive with the installation through the design team per ceiling fan as it was just buying one of those over the counter at a big box store.
Yeah. Another plus was I brought a paint sample in and I said I would like this to be my front door, and they were able to match the paint color and give me that. So that was a nice.
So our front door is going to be
touch.
called Donna Brown.
They named a paint after me.
Well, guys, it was so gracious of you to come in and meet with us after this long and tiring week that you've had. We really appreciate it, and I know our viewers will too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Until next time. Until next time.
See you when you get here.